It is day 281 of the second Trump administration. And this evening, we've got some time-sensitive news that you should be aware of. Right now, there are two government programs at the center of the government shutdown. Obamacare, which has been the sticking point between Democrats and Republicans that is keeping the shutdown going, and federal food benefits that are commonly known as SNAP. It is about to run out of money because the Trump White House decided not to use emergency money to keep it going. That is a decision that Speaker Mike Johnson came out in support of today. And so far, both parties have made no progress in reopening the government. When it comes to those Obamacare subsidies, it might already be too late to help recipients for 2026. States and the federal government may be able to lower those prices if there is a deal done by this Saturday, because open enrollment starts listing prices next week. But right now, there's no sign of that. And by the way, you might be surprised by just who benefits the most from these subsidies. They have been most popular with Americans in the higher income brackets, like small business owners. They would lose all financial help with health care without the subsidies. Now, I want to talk about the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. People know it as SNAP. It has been around for decades and decades, helping low-income Americans buy healthy food. About 1 in every 8 Americans rely on SNAP to get food. That is more than 40 million people, might be more than you thought. The people who get them are a diverse group. And according to the Food Research Action Center, the vast majority of them do not receive cash welfare benefits. Here's what one woman who uses SNAP said about what she's going through right now. Watch this.
I don't think it's the richest country in the world. I see a lot of families and friends that are suffering and trying to make ends meet. With all the uncertainty that's going on, I think we need to have a little bit more security, knowing that we're going to be able to get the help from the politicians, from our president, from everybody that we voted for, that we put in office, that should be doing their jobs correctly and being able to help us all out. Instead of just punishing us, because that's what it feels like, is that we're being punished for needing the assistance or needing the help.
Two government programs that tens of millions of Americans depend on for access to healthy food and medical care are now hanging in the balance. I thought you should know. Now let's get smarter with the help of our leadoff panel tonight. Luke Broadwater is here, Pulitzer Prize winning White House correspondent for the New York Times. Susan Glasser joins us, staff writer for The New Yorker, and Larry Sabato. We haven't seen him in a while, and I'm glad he is back. Director at the Center for Politics at University of Virginia, professor and presidential historian. Mr. Broadwater, you cover Congress, or have for quite some time, along with the White House, so help us out. It is about to be shutdown day number 28. We are starting to hear some talk from some Senate Republicans about changing the filibuster. What are you hearing?
Yeah, look, I think that's a sign that the pain is starting to seep in. For this shutdown is now the second longest one in American history. Both of the longest shutdowns have happened under Donald Trump's presidency, and this could be becoming the longest shutdown of all time. The longer this goes on, the more pain and suffering there will be. You just in your intro talked about the food stamps and the SNAP that's going to start going away. We talked about, we already know the furloughs that are going in. We have so many government workers without paychecks. Pretty soon, we're going to start, if history is precedent, we're going to start seeing slowdowns, even more slowdowns at airports going into Thanksgiving. So this is just going to get worse and worse. And you're going to start hearing people talk about how to get out of it more and more. And that's why you're hearing even some people strategizing about getting rid of the filibuster. I don't think that's likely to happen. But as of right now, there's no end in sight with Donald Trump, the president, not even in the country right now. It's going to be very difficult to negotiate an end to this. And so for the foreseeable future, this shutdown is going to keep going, and we're going to keep feeling more pain.
Well, let's listen to what Mike Johnson said about the White House choosing not to use emergency money to keep funding SNAP.
The administration has worked, as you all know, very creatively and very hard to limit the pain on the Americans because of the Democrats' shutdown. And the SNAP benefits is a unique situation. I got a summary of the whole legal analysis, and it certainly looks legitimate to me. The contingency funds are not legally available to cover the benefits right now.
Susan, fact check me here, because the White House has been moving and freezing congressionally approved money for months now.
You mean you're saying stuff that they're not on the level here with this argument? Yeah, I think they're not on the level here with this argument. Let's remember that this is the same Trump administration that just announced that an anonymous donor was going to give $130 million to pay paychecks for some portion of the military to mitigate the effects of the shutdown. So when they want to act because it suits their political optics, you know, they've shown some ability to do so, or certainly a willingness to do so, even when it's pushing the boundaries of what's legal. And I thought that was a powerful statement, from the aid recipient here at the top of the show, saying basically it looks like they want to exact pain on people because they need help from the government. And that's been a theme of the administration's response from the beginning, is we will punish you, not that we will have negotiations. They're literally not even talking. And I think that's important for people who might get the impression, well, that there are negotiations, but they're just not breaking through or something like that. As far as we understand, there are no serious negotiations. I've talked with senators in recent days. I do not get any indication that there is any kind of serious negotiation or even any expectation that the two sides are going to come to the table anytime soon. That record for the longest shutdown is 35 days. We're already almost there. I think the expectation in Washington, that's right, is that we're gonna more than eclipse that record very soon.
Larry, the USDA is blaming Democrats for SNAP benefits being suspended. Do you think that is going to put some pressure on them?
Oh, I doubt it. Look, other departments have done the same thing right in the beginning. Some of them did it, and then you had Kristi Noem sending out her announcement to airports. Look, what's going on here is that neither side is budging because both sides believe they're winning and they think they have the winning strategy. And there's no one to bring them together. I don't know where President Trump is, some other country tonight, but wherever he is and whatever he's doing, he is not facilitating the negotiations. They want to keep him isolated from it. And I don't think that's possible for a president if he wants to solve the government shutdown. He has to get involved. And as long as he doesn't, we could set a tremendous new record, an awful new record. It could go to Thanksgiving. It could go to Christmas. I mean, and people are hurting. The average people, not the billionaires, not the part-time soybean farmers, the billionaires who are a part of the Trump administration. I've never seen an administration with so many billionaires in it. They're doing just fine. I don't think they care.
Well, Larry, Obamacare and SNAP, it's fair, it's objective to say they're very expensive programs, and a lot of people in this country want to see government spending come down. But these are programs that give people access to health care and food. So how are voters supposed to feel right now?
Look, 10% of the population has more income, more wealth than the other 90%. So I really don't think the problem is people who need some extra food to get through the month. And I think most people just understand that. They understand it at some level. If they're 30 or older, they understand who has the wealth and how and why. So people should feel badly about those who don't have enough, and people should side with the politicians and the party that's trying to do something about it.
Luke, is there any concern in this White House about the backlash when Americans see their new premiums, which could be a week from now?
Yes, I think so. Even early on, Donald Trump has talked a little bit about what could happen politically when these premiums spike. And there's a sense, I think, among some Republicans that this could reflect back on them. So they are trying to frame this as the Democrats' fault, that because the Democrats won't reopen the government, they won't vote for their clean CR, then they can't even start negotiations on fixing this pending healthcare mess we have coming. So they think they're winning on that message right now. If you talk to White House officials, they see some polling ticking in their direction. As Professor Sabato said earlier, the Democrats also believe they're winning on this issue. And so when you have both sides dug in thinking this is the longer they hold out, the better it gets for them politically, that creates a situation where we very well may see no fix at all to these spiking premiums, which are about to hit Americans very hard very shortly.
All right. Well, the New York Times talked to people in Iowa, which is a very Trump-friendly state. People there say they are hurting. Soybean farmers are losing business. Things like tractors cost more because of tariffs. The agriculture labor market is in rough shape. And manufacturers, of course, are laying off workers as well. Larry, do you think this will result in any kind of political shift? I mean, Iowa is as red as it comes.
Yeah, Donald Trump got 3 landslides in Iowa. And now, of course, they're unhappy with some of the things he's doing because it's hurting them. Although what's interesting to me is most of the people who've been interviewed about this in television segments, and I think even in that New York Times piece, are sticking with Trump. They really like Trump. They like everything he's doing. It's hurting them, but they're not going to switch sides. And that really is the crux of the problem. We have such party polarization that people will not switch sides regardless of what's happening to them, even if the party they support is directly responsible for their ills. They won't switch. They won't vote for the other side. They won't even not show up. They'll show up and vote for the side that may be hurting them. So with that kind of polarization, where are we going to find the middle that may shift from one party to another to send a signal to solve the problem?
Susan, we know that right now the House isn't even working. And according to the New York Times, even Donald Trump knows how small of a role Mike Johnson has. Reportedly, he joked that he himself is both the president and the Speaker of the House. Is Mike Johnson's move here, is it doing permanent damage to Congress, but also his own political career?
Well, I mean, he doesn't have his own political career. He exists as a shadow of Donald Trump. He would never be Speaker if it were not for Donald Trump. He certainly couldn't maintain his House majority if it weren't for Trump, given how small the size of that majority is and how much more loyal the members of the House Republican Conference are to Trump than they are to any individual Republican leader on the Hill. But this incredible shrinking speakership of Mike Johnson's, I think, is a parable for the incredible shrinking Congress in both the House and the Senate in Donald Trump's second term. It's one of the signal moments, I think, that has enabled so much of what's going on right now is that the Constitution envisioned Congress acting as an independent branch of government as a check on an out-of-control executive. Instead, what's happened is that there's a partisan capture of it. I thought it was incredible in that terrific story by Annie Kearney in the New York Times. She points out that Steve Bannon, no less, has taken to calling the House the Russian Duma. And what he means by that is that it's not just a rubber stamp, but it's basically a non-functioning entity, that it's not a real legislative body anymore. And it's really notable that Donald Trump has governed essentially by fiat and executive authority. The House is out for 2 months. Who knows when they're going to even come back in? And I think that really kind of sums up the state of Washington right now. Two sides not talking to each other in the middle of a government shutdown while millions of actual Americans suffer as a result of it. And one of our 2 houses of Congress not even in session, not even bothering to show up for the job that they were elected to do because Donald Trump's handpicked speaker doesn't want them to.
Luke, you agree?
Yeah, look, no speaker in history has probably diminished the power of the House more than Mike Johnson. He does not view the House as a independent seat of power, which is the way the Constitution is set up. You know, the founders envisioned that the Congress would fight for their own prerogatives. They did not envision that loyalty in the Republican Party would become so pervasive that Congress would give up its own power to the president. And you just look at everything that's happening across the board in terms of zero oversight of the Trump administration coming from Congress. You look at them not fighting as he repurposes funds from purposes that were not authorized by Congress, even though that's their constitutional duty. So every step of the way, when there was a chance to have some power asserted that they should have done, they have not done that.